Edge Radio.
Hello everyone, this is Wayne Brown from the Talkie Show with a little bit of a special episode, I think you could probably say. You may notice there's a distinct lack of couch and studio. This is because at the moment Edge is on the move and moving to a new location, which means I've got nowhere to record except for in my office here at my house. So I'm not actually even in the studio. Anyway, that actually ties in nicely with tonight's show. Now, I was going to have a guest, however, the move has sort of thrown that out a little bit. However, that's okay. My next few shows will be done from home, so it'll be this wonderful, highly professional setup. And once the new studio's set up, I'll be in there and recording as per normal. So bear with me for these few episodes. Now, tonight, I want to address something because I've had some things happen to some friends in my life recently that had me thinking about this question. And I often have people, because I used to do dating coaching and relationship coaching, I used to talk to people and they go, oh, it's too late for me, I'm too old. And that always sort of bugged me a little bit. And I always thought it was tied into just the age, but it's not the age that was giving me the willies. It was the attitude that they had, because they made some assumptions about the giving up thing. And if you say, is it too late to give up, or, is it easier just to give up? You assume two things. First of all, that time's the enemy. Basically, as long as you're still alive, it's never too late, because you've still got that energy, you've got the ability, you've got the capacity to choose a different path. And also that the other thing that it assumes when you say it's too late is that failure or giving up is a bad thing. And it's not necessarily true, because sometimes when we say it's too late, it's not just about trying again, it's learning when to give up. So a lot of people, when they're caught in particular situations, they think if I've failed, whatever that is, they think that they won't be able to begin again. And it's not that. It's not always, should I begin again? Sometimes we have to give up things. And that's a totally different distinction as well. So it's not too late to try, and it's never too late to change. So this is what I want to explore tonight, because it's very important. So to give a little bit of context, I suppose, to why I want to talk about this a little bit, is in regards to my own journey. Now, if you've been watching my stuff or listening to my stuff for any period of time, you would have picked up on the knowledge that I've been married before, not once, but twice. So I'm actually on my third marriage. Now, in those relationships, the first one, my wife ended it. So it was her choice. After 4 years, no more, I'm out of here. Now, in the regard to the second one, that second one lasted for 11 years. And I put a lot of time and effort into that. And it got to the point where it wasn't so much a, if I end this, I failed. It's a, if I don't end this, I'll never have a chance to get it correct. So I had to end that relationship to be able to go and define myself again, so that I could find the improved relationship and marriage that I currently have. So for me, it wasn't a, is it too late to try again? It was a, it's not too late to find myself. It's not too late to reinvent who I am. Because a lot of the times when we're looking at trying again or giving up, we also have to look at our identity. We have to look at who we are as a person, what we represent. And this comes down to, do we persist with something? In other words, is this something that matters? Because if it is, I'll continue. So persistence is a good thing. So you don't quit, you keep trying, you keep trying. The other one is attachment. This just means when it's something that's working against you and you want to keep persisting. So it's that second marriage. Kept trying and trying and trying, even though I was pushing the proverbial uphill. It was I can't give up on this. And ultimately, I had to, because it wasn't moving me forward. It wasn't in alignment with what I wanted. It wasn't congruent with my values that I had. So it was a complete mismatch all over the place. When it first started, it seemed okay. It was only later it became more apparent that if I didn't quit, if I didn't give up, I wouldn't be able to try again. So that was very important to know that distinction of, am I persisting because it's good for me, or am I giving up the attachment because it's not good for me? So it depends on what you're quitting or what you're giving up in order to move forward. So there's a lot of people that'll go, I'm too old for this. And again, this is one of these things that bugs me, because there's incidents through history of people who didn't give up. So it wasn't them giving up because of attachment. It was giving up with not giving up with persistence. They knew it was something that was going to work for them. So perfect examples, one that everyone's probably heard, Colonel Harlan Sanders. He had retired. He was in his 60s. He was looking for something to do. He got his first pension check and he went, well, this is a load of rubbish. And he started going out and promoting his chicken recipe, and eventually he gained traction and then he franchised it. But he was well on in his years. So he didn't give up because he believed in that. He had persistence. Another one is Vera Wang. A lot of people, if you know anything about fashion, Vera Wang's very famous. What a lot of people don't realize is she was a journalist prior to that, and she just missed out on being an Olympic skating participant. So because of that, she then started becoming a designer in her 40s. So still relatively young, but certainly not where a lot of people think you should be getting success, which is in your 20s and 30s. Another one, Ray Kroc. He was selling milkshake making machines. And then he came across the concept of McDonald's. He was in his 50s as well. And then he started franchising all of that as well. Julia Child, the lady who did the cookbooks, she was 49 when she published her first cookbook. And obviously she released a few. But it took her time and persisting to find that identity of who she really was, so that she could keep going and not give up. And another one, probably the most extreme, is Grandma Moses, who started painting in her 70s. She was looking for another hobby and became world famous and painted quite a number of pieces of art and had her very well known. So instead of looking at your life and thinking it's too late, I can't try now, look at what you're trying to achieve and look at whether it's persistence that you require to move forward into something that's good for you, that aligns with you, it's congruent with your values and your morals, or whether you're attached to something, fear of failure, fear of being judged, fear of not giving up, being branded a failure because you gave up on your relationship or your job or your business idea or whatever it was. So knowing that difference makes the big difference. So it's not that people look at their life and go, I've run out of time, I don't have anything else. It's giving themselves permission to be able to chase that which is valuable to us. Now, there's three reasons people usually do this. One is identity. The second one is for fear. And the third one is social pressure. So sometimes when we're looking at the failure or whether we should give up or not, or whether we should persist, it's sometimes a good thing that we're older, because we learn, we've developed wisdom, we've developed experience, we've developed our perspective, we've broadened it. So often we can make better choices. So, for example, again, speaking about my own journey, when my second marriage failed, it was me being able to look at that and go, why did it fail? And rather than blaming my ex-wife, which is always easy to do, I turned the magnifying glass on myself and said, what did I contribute to it that allowed it to not be effective? And what is it that I didn't put into it that allowed it to not be effective? So it was the looking at it, my identity, facing those fears and the social pressures, so that I could gain that wisdom, that knowledge, that experience to be able to move forward. Now, sometimes the things that we must give up in order to move forward is sometimes we have to give up our methods, because the method or the knowledge or the habit that got you to where you are now won't get you to where you want to be, because if it would, you'd already be there. So again, looking at my relationships, what I had been doing in the past was not working. So I had to do something different that would work. So I looked at my dating, I looked at my conversational skills, I looked at the way I interact, I looked at the way that I love, I looked at all different aspects about myself so that I could fine tune them and get better. Now, does that mean I've nailed it? No, I'm still fine tuning everything. However, I had to look at my methods in order to be able to move off in a different direction rather than the one I was currently on at the time. Another thing is you're giving up on your timelines. One of the probably the most dangerous beliefs that we can have is that certain things have to happen when we're young. We have to have the great job. We have to have the great relationship. We have to have the great health. We have to have the great success. And all of these things have to happen when we're young. Sometimes these things happening to us later in our life is far more beneficial because we're calmer, we've discovered ourselves better, we've developed a better perspective, a better way of looking at things. So these allow us to look at our timeline differently. And sometimes we can flip it. So we look at what we had as a first chapter or a first act, if you want to make it into a play. So the way we look at it can make a very big difference. Another thing we need to look at is our false identities. So a lot of the times we can have beliefs or attitudes that can be working against us and giving us that mindset of giving up, or that belief that we should give up. And it could be something like, I'll never find the partner for me. I'll never be successful. These sorts of things don't happen for people like me. These beliefs, these attitudes, this programming that we give ourselves is what is working against us and makes it far more likely that we're going to choose quitting rather than persisting because something's actually good for us. Now, when I met my wife, did I realize how good it would be for me? No, because everything I had to go off was in my past. All I had to go off was an idea of who I could be, who I could become, and the relationship I could have because of it. And this will be the same with yourself. If you're looking at something, ask yourself, what can I become because of a better attitude, better methods, a better understanding of my timeline, a better identity that I choose? Where could I go? What would be the path that would be open to me? And the moment you start asking yourself what path, you then have options. You can go path A, B, C, and on and on and on. So ultimately, it's up to you. So quitting isn't necessarily a good thing, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's how we're looking at it. And that's what I'm trying to break down tonight, is to give you different ways of looking at it so you can get better results. Now, if you've got a pen and paper and you're watching this, grab it, and I want to give you 3 questions to ask yourself so that you can make these better choices, have a better understanding of things, to be able to access and judge your journey forward a little bit better. So I'm hoping you've grabbed your pen and paper. So the first question I want to ask you pertains to what I was talking about at the start. Am I pursuing this, and whatever this is, because it still matters, or because I'm already invested in it? So again, looking at my first marriage, am I pursuing it because it still matters? No, I was pursuing it because I'd already invested a lot of time and effort into it. I had social fears and all of that. So ask yourself, am I still pursuing this, whatever that is, because it still matters, or because I'm already invested in it? So that's what the first thing you need to ask yourself if you're thinking of giving up, or depending on which way you want to interpret it, giving up as in, I don't want to try again, or giving up as in, should I give up because it's not moving me where I want to? The second one, this can be a really challenging one for people because, again, you've got to start to dig deeper and look at things that may be uncomfortable. So I want to ask you to ask yourself, if I started fresh today, would I choose this path again? Now, certain things you would have to choose again. Like I would have to choose my second marriage again, because some of the lessons that I got from that were absolutely mind-boggling for how much they changed my life. It just took me a lot longer to get the lesson than it should have done. So when you're looking at this situation, look at the positives and the negatives involved in it, whatever you want to call positive or negative, because sometimes they can be swapped around. So if I started fresh today, would I choose this job? Would I choose this relationship? Would I choose this health choice? Would I choose this friendship? Would I choose this financial path? Would I choose this place of residence? So if I was to start fresh again today, would I choose this path again? So that's a good second question to ask yourself. A third one is this, and again, it's one of those ones where you have to look a little deeper. You have to really think about what your answer is. And that is, what am I afraid will happen if I let this go? So again, and again, I'll use my second marriage as an example. If I let this go, if I give up on this, what am I afraid will happen? People will think I'm a failure. I had a failed marriage. People will think I can't succeed. I'm less of a man. There's so many different fears that I could have come up with, and probably did unconsciously, that kept me in that relationship until I reached that point where I went, you know what? Enough. I'm done. I'm out. So ask yourself, what am I afraid will happen if I let this go? So this is the things that you have an attachment to, not the things that are driving you forward and motivating you and are aligning with who you are. It's not giving up that. It's giving up on the other stuff. If you're I'll use my friend as an example. She's a little bit older than me, and she keeps trying to find a relationship. And there were many times that she wanted to give up, and I kept encouraging her to keep going, because you're not too old for love. You're not too old to find connection. You're not too old to find success. And success is only how you view it. So it could be success on a local area. You might become a mentor to local youth so you can show them how to do their job better or fit into society or whatever. So whether you're going to be like a mentor or whether you're going to do something else, ask yourself if giving up that will create something that is not beneficial to your life. Or on the flip side, you can, if that one's a little hard, ask yourself what could happen. So if I give up on my second marriage, I can find the partner that is a better fit for me. So there's positives and negatives, pluses and minuses, swings and roundabouts, however you want to phrase it, to every decision. No matter how bad a situation is, there's always a positive in it. No matter how positive a situation is, there's always a downside somewhere. So if you want to get amazing success, you might struggle with your relationship because you're not putting the time into it. So it's one of these things where you have to work out what's working for you. Do I keep pushing forward with this thing because it's working for me and is aligned with who I authentically am and it's congruent with my morals and values? Or do I actually give up on it because it will allow me to find that thing that's more congruent with who I am? So being able to break these situations down and analyze them makes it so much easier to make that decision of, do I actually give up or do I keep persisting? So I'm hoping I'm starting to change the way you look at your journey, where you are, what you're achieving in your life, and what you could potentially achieve if you give up on certain things. So knowing what to quit. Actually, here's a really good one. Just popped into my head from many years ago. Many years ago, I developed what I thought was a cold, a chest cold. I was hacking and coughing and all of this. And I went to the doctors and he said, I'll send you off some chest x-rays. So he sends me off for some chest x-rays. And I think I was about 25, 26, somewhere around there. And when I went back to do the old follow-up, once he'd got the x-rays, he said to me, you've got the start of emphysema. Now, this wasn't a surprise because I smoked at the time. Not a heavy smoker, but I did smoke. Now, again, it's the do I quit or don't I? Now, one of the things that terrified me was having the old tracheotomy and speaking through a little box in my throat. So that terrified me. So making that choice to quit was very easy because it wasn't aligned with who I wanted to be, which was a healthy, strong, fit person. So I had to quit that one. But I also had to choose to not quit on becoming who I was becoming, which was healthy, fit, and everything like that. So there was two quits involved. I quit the thing that's not good for me and the not quit the thing that's good for me. So we're getting you to look at all of this so that you can make those better decisions. Now, this means that it's never too late to give up on something that's dragging you down, and it's never too late to not quit on something that's lifting you up. So I don't know what your journey is. I don't know what you're going through. I don't have an understanding of whether it's actually good for you or not. This is something only you can work out and ascertain. And I'm hoping that some of the questions and things I've given you tonight are going to give you that ability to be able to look at your situation, whether it's your health, like I did with my smoking, whether it's your relationship, like I did with my marriage, or business, or no matter what it is. I'm hoping these questions have given you that opportunity, that clarity to be able to break down your situation, whichever it is, so that you can make a good choice of giving up something that's not good for you or continuing with something that is good. And again, I want to reiterate what I said at the start. It's got nothing to do with your age. Those people that I mentioned earlier, Colonel Harlan Sanders, Vera Wang, Julia Childs, Ray Kroc, all of these people had nothing to do with their age. Okay, they saw a vision of who they could become, what they could achieve, the impact they could have, and they worked towards it. They didn't give up. They persisted. Now, on that path, there would have been things that they had to give up, things that they did have to quit, believing the opinion of other people, believing the naysayers, believing that they were too old. So there were certain things that they had to give up, and there were certain things they had to keep a hold of. So it's understanding these things. So that the timeline that we're on, in other words, the age that you're at, and I don't know what your age is, you know what it is, it's never too late. It's never too late. I've read of couples in nursing homes that find the love of their life, and they're in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. So whether you're seeking a relationship, that business, the success, the money, the financial security, the peace, the contribution to the world, no matter what it is that you're seeking, it's all within your grasp. All you have to do is understand that phrase. Is it too late to give up? Is it too late to try again? Because only you can determine this. Only you have the capacity to work out, weigh up the answers from those questions to understand whether you should give up that stuff that's dragging you down or whether you should persist with the things that are moving you forward. So instead of actually asking, is it too late to make those decisions? Ask yourself, is it still true for me? Is it still true that I need to hold on to that stuff that's dragging me down? Is it still true for me that I can achieve these things? So that's it. We're just about at the end of the show. It would have been a 1-hour show with a guest. However, like I said, because the studios doesn't exist at the moment, I can't do that. I hope I've done a reasonable job of making up for the lack of studio and guest. If you do have questions that you'd like me to explore or answer, a situation that you're in that you want a little bit of clarity, maybe a different perspective, you are more than welcome to send me an email to the talkieshow@gmail.com. That's Talkie as in TALKIE, the talkieshow@gmail.com. Give me as much details as you can in regards to your question so that I can answer as accurately as possible. Also, I should probably remember to say this every time. If you don't want me to mention your name, if you don't want any identifying information in the response that I give, please tell me in the email, because I don't want to put anyone in a situation where they shouldn't be in. Next week is scheduled to be another one of these solo talks. I do have someone organised for the one after, and that will be, I'll have to do that online. So they'll have to call in and join me digitally from somewhere else. Until the studio's done, I think we're still, probably 5-6 weeks out from that. So yeah, you'll have to bear with me. I'm hoping I've made this worth your while. I'm hoping I've given you some clarity, and I also hope I've just given you some hope that it's not too late. Because if someone like myself can discover what they love to do, which is what I'm doing now, can discover the relationship that lifts him up, can discover better conversation and connecting with people and finding new friends and all of this thing, if I can do it, you can do it. So go and ask yourself the questions, work out what you've got to give up, and work out what you've got to persist with. So until next week, look after yourselves, stay awesome, and I hope life keeps being amazing for you. You take care. Bye.
Edge Radio.